Welcome to the Muxall Open IoT channel. I am your host, Michael Klein. Okay, well today we're going to install the button panel and the LCD in the Muxall Pro Barbecue Controller faceplate. Alright, and the way this installs is there are no screws holding this in. It is actually potted in place. And the reason why is, well, there's probably enough room. I could probably put a mount or some kind of screw right here holding the LCD in place. But there is absolutely nowhere to put any screws through this faceplate. Through the button panel into the faceplate, because the cutout on the stock Traeger barbecue that this is replacing is literally narrower than this faceplate. Okay, so where these pins are right here are about at the edge, maybe a little bit more. And if you've seen my previous videos fitting it in there, you'll know what I'm talking about. So there's nowhere to put any screw holes through here because they would have to go right here, right? And that would be wider than the actual back of the PCB. Oops, sorry, I'm looking at it myself. I should be showing you. All right. So what we've decided to do is, as we seal it in place to hold it, and then we pot it with a potting compound that will. It's a very good tight seal on here, and it will last forever. All right, so how are we going to do this? So first off, you want to protect the electronics. So I'm going to want to make sure that we tape up the ends, and I'm going to put a little bit of tape around these meat probe jacks, the 3.5mm jacks. I'll put some tape around the switch. But I'm not going to tape all the way down. I want some of that potting to go in and around these guys to seal them up, even though this switch right here already has a gasket on it, rubber gasket. I'll tape these pins up, and I'll tape everything up, and also the same for the LCD. I'll tape the flat flex and the wires, and because we want to keep everything nice and clean, and we don't want silicone rubber all over these guys, right? And so I'm going to go ahead and do that off camera. I'll be right back. Okay, so I've got the button panel taped up the header pins, the switch and the wires and the connectors, and also the LCD. And the one last thing I'm going to tape up is where the knob on the main board goes through the button panel. I'm going to go ahead and put a piece of tape on this guy to make sure the potting material doesn't get off in there and clog it up, right? So, I'm going to use black electrical tape for that, okay? So I'm going to go ahead and do that real quick. I'll be right back. Okay, so I don't know if you can see this. I'm looking in a monitor over here in case you're wondering what I'm looking at. But I put the black masking tape over the knob hole right there, and I was trying to think why I started using electrical tape instead of masking tape, and the only thing I can think of is when I use masking tape and I try to pull this off and it has some potting material over it, the masking tape isn't as strong as electrical tape and tends to rip up, but I don't remember. I've just been doing it ever since I started building these, so anyway, I think that's the reason why I was doing it. So, okay, so now we're ready, and the next step we're going to do is I'm going to take some of these alcohol wipes, and these are these are medical things. I buy them by the case. I've had these sitting around for many months, way before the coronavirus, and I'm just going to wipe off any oils that might have built up on the back of this faceplate. It's fairly clean. It just got back from the anodizer a little bit ago. So I clean that up like that. All right. And we'll let that dry. And of course, you always want to test fit everything, right? But I didn't want to bore you with that. I'm sure you can figure that out on your own. And if you're wondering what these are the light pipes, if you will, or the light cutouts for the LEDs to light up the button panel. And I left them. I did this post anodizing so they would be shiny and they would reflect light better. In case you're wondering, and you can see the LEDs for the button panel are right here. They're reverse mount LEDs. That's why they're like that. And if you watch the button panel assembly, you've seen them assembled. Okay. Okay. Well, I've test fitted everything in here. Kind of looking at it, see how I'm going to hold it in there. And I also found something to kind of weight it down a little bit. Nothing moves around. Alright, so I'm just going to take my standard electronics grade silicone rubber, and you need to make sure it's electronics grade because a lot of silicone rubber is corrosive to electronics and will not be good for them. And I can't get this out. So yeah, on second thought, I think I'll just pull the top off this guy. And because I'm just going to squirt a dab on the paper right here, it's not that big of a deal. There you go. That's all we need. And I don't know if I said this is American Sealants Inc. Number 388 electronic skate grade silicone rubber. I don't think I introduced it earlier. This is pretty good stuff. I've had pretty good luck with this. So the first thing I'm going to put in is the button panel. And what I'm going to do, and I don't know if I can show this on video or not. We'll see. Let's see how well this goes. Usually I put my second set of eyeballs on, if you will, and get down here with it to seal this thing. But I'll try doing it on video if you guys can see it okay. At least a little bit of it. And I'm just going to carefully put this stuff on there. Like that. I don't know. Can you guys see that? Probably not, huh? Let me get a close-up of this. Oh, and by the way, I did clean I did clean the button. I did clean the button panel too with alcohol. I think I forgot to mention that. I did it previously off camera. So what I'm going to do here is, now what this is for, this is to seal the button panel so it doesn't leak water. Alright? And it also has a gluing aspect to it. But the potting compound is the main gluing compound that's gonna be required for the mechanical holding of the button panel in there. This right here is just to make sure no water gets up underneath it. We don't want water in our electronics. Let's see, can you guys see that okay? I don't put a real thick layer on here because you don't want to spend hours trying to clean it off. The button panel, and as you'll see, I'll have to let it sit a little bit before I can handle it. And what I've done in the past too is you can also just do the button panel first, let it sit, or clean it, let it sit, and then come back and do the LCD later. But for the sake of the video, I'm just going to do them both. All right. So, as you can see, I've got a nice uniform coating of silicone rubber around. I'm going to go off camera and put my eyeballs on, make sure I haven't missed anywhere, and I'll be right back. Okay, so I've been, well, you probably can't see my pile, but I've just been using these alcohol swabs to clean up all the faceplate. The outside of it from where I slopped it, around the inside edges, and out of the light pipe holes. And I'm just kind of inspecting it right now. You can see I kind of smoothed everything, and I think what I've decided, I was sitting there thinking about it. I think I'm just going to go ahead and do them one at a time. And the reason why is when I go ahead and put this button panel in here, I need to be able to hold it. Well, let's just do it. I'm just going to go ahead and put the button panel in here, shall we? And I'll just stick this guy in there like that. Push down on him. And see, I want to be able to hold the button panel in like that and clean using alcohol swabs around the edges right here. And I don't know if I'm going to be able to do this on camera, but what I'm going to do is I'm just going to take some of these alcohol swabs or pads and hold it in place with my finger and then swab around here. And I was almost sure I was going to be able to hold the LCD and the button panel at the same time and swab. Okay, so I'm just going to do this off camera, but that's what I'm going to do. I'm just holding it, swabbing it, and then I'm going to let it sit for a bit. And I'm also going to remove some of the excess silicone right there so it doesn't get in the way when we set the LCD. And we'll be back probably after lunch when it sets up. Okay? Okay, so yeah, lunchtime is over and the faceplate's in there pretty good, so now I can move it around without having to worry about it shifting. Okay? I said the faceplate, the button panel is installed, okay? Or installed good enough so we can now get the LCD mounted in there. So basically I'm going to do the same thing. I'm just going to put a nice even layer of silicone rubber around there. I'm going to fit this in there and hold it in there with my finger while I clean it, and that'll be it. So I think, well, I'll come back and I'll show it to you. It's the exact same thing how I'm going to do it as I did the button panel. And I'll just show you it after it's been cleaned up, okay? Alright, so I thought I'd go ahead and show you the, I just put a thin layer around the outside edge of it. This is to seal the LCD. And I just use this little tool right here, and as you can see, just nice uniform layer. You don't want it too thick. You don't want it squishing out the other side right here, making a huge mess. And it doesn't matter if it's actually, has some gaps here and there, because this is to make it watertight for the controller. I mean for the LCD. But when we add the potting, that will make it waterproof. So I just wanted to show you. I use my second set of eyeballs so I can make sure I get it even and just in all the little cracks and crevices where we want it. And I did clean it with alcohol. And by the way, you can wipe this guy, the LCD. And if you're going to use, I would probably suggest not even using alcohol on it. Just wipe them with a clean, dry rag. And because if you get anything underneath that LCD, it will ruin it. All right. So just a word of warning on those things. You don't want any kind of moisture or water or especially alcohol underneath that LCD. Anyway, so I'll put it together and I'll be back in a minute. Okay, so I just wanted to show you. I had some squeeze out the end right here. And probably the best way to clean that is you have to be very careful is to take your little tool, clean it off of course, and just kind of lift it out of there. You do not want to let this set up because it will become almost impossible. But very, very carefully clean it with alcohol. And you do not want to squeeze it to where alcohol gets behind the LCD like I just warned you about. Because then you're just going to ruin the LCD, right? And so anyway, I just wanted to show you that. The other ones, I see a little bit squirting out here and there. That can usually just be wiped up easily. I'm just holding the back of it with my finger And I'm just going to wipe around very carefully to make sure that all the silicone rubber is off the faceplate and off the LCD. Because once it dries, getting it off is 100 times harder. Okay, so I have the Loctite SI5140 loaded in the gun, and the faceplate is clean. I kind of tape these things up out of the way so they're just not in the way when I'm potting it. And let's just go ahead and do it. Okay, so let me pull the screw out of the end of this thing. So you definitely don't want to fill it up to the top. Now, it does self-level, but only to a point. So if you create a mound, it will stay a mound, which is good and bad. It helps it so it doesn't leak through the holes. But if you put too much in there, they're going to be stuck with the task of trying to get it out of there. And believe me, it's a lot easier to put in than it is to take out. Whoops. As I say, messing it up. So I don't know if you can see the back part of me, what I'm doing here in the back. And it's just nice and easy. Okay, and let's use a paper towel for, and I'll come back and fix all this stuff. I forget what the working time on this stuff is. It's at least 10 or 15 or 20 minutes or something like that. So you've got plenty of time. Oops, I'm getting a little bit too much in there to do this. Now I also, get this guy right here. I also do on top of the button panel, which I'll show you in just a second. And by the way, the odor there's hardly any odor with this, which is very nice. Okay, so I'm going to get under here and do between the LCD and the button panel. I don't know if you guys can see that. Okay. We're doing between the LCD and the button panel. It's coming through here. And I'm going to clean it up with my tool a little bit. This guy right here. I'll come through here, but first I'm just going to get all the material down. So I'm trying to do this where everyone can see it. And whoops, it's coming off my electrical tape holders there. I have to put it up on electrical tape because of the power switch. Alright. Now let's see, I'm going to go along the front right here. Sorry, the side. Just going to put a nice sealing bead all the way along here. And I'm not going to fill in the whole thing. The button panel is pretty sealed. I mean, it's a PCB. It's not going anywhere. Now let me flip this guy around to the other side here. I don't know. This caulking gun's probably in the way. We'll have to see when we go to edit it. Let's see. There we go. Okay. We turn the camera off for a bit so I can look around. I'm just going to hit a few small little areas. This is just in between the faceplate and LCD. I'm just sealing all the holes up. Yep. And I could put it over the whole thing, but yeah, I don't think it's necessary. Of course, now I'm dribbling it all over the place. So right down here is probably a good idea. Right around those connectors, let it flow through the connectors. Oh, why not? Let's just do the whole thing. Won't hurt. This stuff is very flexible. It'll allow for the chips to move around well. Now I'm not going to go over, and it's probably going to settle a little bit. Oops. So you can already see it settling on that electrical tape, so we'll have to remove some of that. But I think that's about it. I'm not going to put any more in there. At $65 a tube, we don't want any waste. We want to make it right, but no waste. So now what I'm going to do is I'm just going, you can see some gaps. You can see on this side right here, actually on both sides now I'm looking at it, you can see it's a little bit high, so you can just kind of pull it and move it around. And we want to keep it off the where the knob goes, but I'm just kind of moving it. I got a little bit happy with it in the middle right here. It's getting a little bit high. That's okay. So I'm just going to move some of it over here. I'm just going to, yeah, got a little bit high. It looks pretty good over here. I'm just gonna, we don't want it on the mounting plate or on the edges of the faceplate right there. But as you can see, like right on this side, oops, we're still a little bit high right here. So I'm just going to pull some of this, we'll put it up on the LCD, and you can't take it out. You can just start scooping this stuff up and dumping it on your rag, but I'm going to go ahead and just just cover the LCD with it. Why not, right? There we go. Use some of that excess out of there. Okay, it's looking pretty good. Okay, so we went ahead and turned the camera off, and I kind of went over it with a some paper towel. I kind of smoothed it out. It looks a little lumpy right here, and I don't know if you can see it on camera. I can see it, but it should smooth out, given some time, and make it all nice and pretty, kind of like this right here. You can see that right there. No, you can't see it, can you? There you go. You can see like this right here. I just dumped that on there, but you can see it just smoothed out nice and smooth. And I did move this around too, using this tool. So this will smooth out now, and I will take a picture or maybe a quick video. I'll probably just take a picture tomorrow and put it at the end of this video so you can see what it looks like. Don't forget to close your tube of Loctite and put it back in the refrigerator, and that's it. Okay, so that's it, and it says on the container it sets up tack free in 60 minutes, and which means where you can touch it, and it fully cures in 24 hours. Actually, I have found that to be a little longer, and it does say it'll take longer depending on the temperature and humidity. But like I said, I'll take a picture of it tomorrow and put it at the end of the video so you can see what it looks like. So there you go.
Don't forget, you can support the Muxall Open IoT channel by donation using a credit card and PayPal, or by purchasing products at the Muxall store. Details and links are in the description under this video. Well, that's it for this video. If you liked the video, give it a big thumbs up, that helps, and hit the subscribe button, that really helps. If you have any questions or comments, post them in the comments under this video. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.